Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Joe Vore Podcast, JV Podcast Network, the Bachelorette Roundup, season finale, part 2. We find out who gets the final rose in this episode. Joe Vore, Daniel Maguire, season 12, The Bachelorette, seasons 3 and 4 of Bachelor in Paradise. So, Daniel, as we do for every recap, for every podcast that we do, we were doing a little bit of talk pre-show. But again, just kind of go over, before we get into the details, now that you've watched sort of the back end, the last half of this season, you haven't watched the show in a while, and really a long time since you've been on the show. What were your overall impressions? Has much changed, or is it just kind of the same formula, same kind of boring stuff, just with different people kind of inserted?
Yeah, it's basically pretty cookie cutter, same formula. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I don't watch this show. I'd rather watch Paradise.
Yeah.
Or I'd rather be on the show, one of these shows, that way I can make it entertaining at least, in whatever regards that is. But I understand, I have a time and place, and but I feel I still can make it more entertaining. But to each their own. Some people love this, but it's not my cup of tea. Let's just say it like that. So yeah, this episode was pretty vanilla, I guess you could say, and nothing too crazy happened, but yeah, I like your T-shirt today. By the way, you changed things up.
Yeah, well, I'm back home, and I left my suit and tie out there in Arizona, so I'm going with the comfortable holiday fit right now. I'm used to being out in Arizona where it's sunny and I don't get this winter weather, and now I'm back home in Ohio, and we had some snow the other day, and it's kind of cold, so I'm rocking my sweater. I feel like you in Vancouver, where we get real weather instead of just sunny all the time.
No, I'm just giving you a hard time just because you're always dressed up,
That's right. Now I'm dressed down. Now you're taking over the show. This is gonna be the Daniel podcast. Now you're taking over. But and then you're gonna take over this podcast, and I think this is gonna catch on. We're gonna have the hashtag Bring Back Daniel, so that we're gonna make the Bachelorette entertaining again.
And we might have to do that.
Might have to do it. You just might have to throw the team on your back and lead the way. So let's get into I love it. Let's get into this finale. So we open up with Ben and Tayshia. We're kind of picking up on the rest of their talk. Remember, for anyone that's kind of confused where we're at here, Ben went and saw Tayshia right as she was getting ready, right about to leave for the rose ceremony that we all thought was going to be between just Ivan and Zach. And then Ben shows up and just kind of throws it kind of throws a whole different twist in there. So we see Ben and Tayshia are talking. Now, remember, again, Ben told everyone and their mother that he loved Tayshia except for Tayshia. So now that we're caught up there, again, he's like, I'm sorry, I was scared is what he said, to tell you that I love you, to kind of throw all those emotions out there, even though he had no problem telling his family. Chris Harrison, he looked at the camera, broke the fourth wall, told the audience, he told all of America that he loved Tayshia, but he couldn't tell Tayshia. So do you believe that he was scared to tell Tayshia that he loved her?
After watching this episode, I kind of maybe did or do feel like he was scared. I almost feel bad for the guy in a sense. Like, he seems like a decent guy. And yeah, I mean, before I was maybe like being hard on him, but maybe he's never said it, he loved you to anyone. I mean, I haven't. And so, maybe it was very difficult for him, to each their own. So maybe he thought he had more time and he was more confident in the relationship. That's obviously he thought he had more time. That's what he said, basically. So,
it was kind of interesting what he said. He said exactly that, but he said it a little bit differently. He said, I thought I was going to have like you said, I thought I was going to have more time. I thought I was going to have enough opportunity, because he was like, I thought I had the rose. He was like, I thought I had it. So I'm like, I'll just do it next week. You're a fitness guy. This was the equivalent of, I'll start my diet in the new year. I'll start going to the gym on Monday.
Well, what most people are well aware now, that when you're on the show, time is limited and you have to say your feelings right away, even though it might be forced at times, because, I mean, let's be real, that you love someone after, 2 times hanging out with her. So again, it's kind of fake in a sense, where you got to force your feelings. You got to play, be like, tell them everything that you feel, even though it might not necessarily be true. You got to kind of forecast that, I might be in love with you 2 weeks from now, but I'll just say it now. And so maybe he just, again, he wasn't ready. He felt like he had more time, and he didn't realize that the show's coming to an end and that they got to wrap this up.
Yep. And then we're to this point. So they finish up the talk there, and Tayshia, it's a mix of, I think, her being too nice and also her still having feelings for Ben. She's like, I guess you can come to the rose ceremony. And I was just like, oh, wow. Like, if you would have seen some of the episodes with Claire, who we've kind of talked about, who was on the first half of this season, she would have blown up and made it about her. Like, she would have been very upset at this, would not have had any of this. And Tayshia, who I love, who I think is very sweet, but she was just too nice. She's like, I guess you can come to the rose ceremony. So now, all of a sudden, Ben goes and gets ready. We have Ivan and Zach waiting on Tayshia. And instead of Tayshia showing up, it's now Ben. I mean, if you were one of those guys and this Ben guy shows back up, you're thinking there's two guys, there's two roses. I've survived. This is just a formality. I'm just going to get my rose and we're going to move on here. Now, all of a sudden, this whole other thing comes into play. And now there's more guys than roses. And now all of a sudden I thought I was 100% safe. And now I might be going home.
Yeah, they look pretty scared and pretty worried, especially Ivan.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, shit. Yeah, they weren't happy campers. But, I mean, you can't really blame them because, it gives them less of a chance of getting a rose. But,
right.
It's kind of what it is. It's like, listen, she either likes me or she doesn't. It's not like, a best chef where you made a cake and you feel like your cake is better and it's better.
Yeah.
It comes down to personality. It's, between me and you, that some girl might like you more because whatever your traits you have, it's
right.
Doesn't mean you're a better person. You're just, you're better suited for her, right?
Right. Or maybe she's a cougar and she's like, Daniel's 35, Joe's 22, like 22, sign me up. Who knows? We don't know these girls, Daniel. That might happen, man.
22 years old. Are you even old enough to watch this show?
I just was old enough a few years back. That's why I had it. Well, that's why I missed out on you. I wasn't legally old enough at the time, So.
Have you had any alcoholic beverages before?
Yeah. Yes. I had my first drink on my 21st birthday. Thank you very much. But it's a little different for us. You can drink at 18, right? Canada?
Some places, some provinces, 18. Where I live is 19, yeah.
Gotcha. Oh my gosh. I have this written down in my notes. We can't miss this. Before Ben and went and got ready for the rose ceremony, how about, this was a big telling to me. Again, Tayshia, a little bit too nice, but also still having real feelings for Ben. They kissed and she kissed him. And she, even when he left, she was like, yeah, I did that. She really couldn't control it. It happened. And she was like, oh my God, like, I can't believe I just did that before basically the biggest rose ceremony of the entire show.
With a guy, if it was a different ways around, you'd be like, you're leaning with your dick, not your mind,
Right.
Who's thinking through that? I think she's definitely made it harder. I think for him going because he was all excited. He thought he had it in the bag,
Yeah. Even Ben said he couldn't believe it when he did that little talking head. He goes, I can't believe it. She kissed me. They went in, but it was a very mutual kiss. Like, obviously Ben's going to go for the kiss, right? That's just kind of, like you said, that's just kind of what happens with guys. But the fact that Tayshia kissed him, I was like, oh my God, all of a sudden Ben was out and now I think he's going to win. In that moment, I'm like, Ben has this.
I was more confident with Ben as well. I thought he was going to get a rose as well.
Yep. Right. Okay. So now that we kind of backtrack, we're back to where we were. Rose ceremony. We have Ivan, Zach. I wrote my notes, ... Ben. Ben shows back up. All of a sudden, we went over this. They're pissed. They're freaked out. All these emotions are going through their head. It went from, again, a formality, 2 roses, 2 guys. Everything went well. They're going to be moving on. Now all of a sudden there's this third guy.
I think they also thought, Brendan was going to show up. No?
Well, no, I think they knew that. Didn't they already know that Brendan had gone home?
I don't know.
I think that they did.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure she addressed that. Okay, so I think they knew no one else was supposed to be showing up. Now, we always talk, when we're going back and forth on this podcast, you give great insight on the editing of everything. So, like I said, we have 2 roses, 3 guys now. And Tayshia picks up the first rose, and she says Ivan's name. but not for the rose to go speak to him. And there was this big pause. Is the pause really that dramatic, or are they putting and cutting together different pieces to make it more drawn out? Is this like some movie magic that they used here, or is she actually standing there in silence for that long?
Both, yeah. So both. They'll tell you, like, for example, when we go get a rose and I'm going to hand out a rose, they say, stand up there for a bit and wait. They don't just make it right away, because they want to build it up. And they also want to make sure that you get thoughts of the cast and their emotion and their reactions. So whenever they do that, whenever someone had a rose, I'd always make funny faces or make faces to like try to get so that they would go on me.
Right.
And play it up or whatever.
Right. Yeah. So basically what you're saying is they get all of those shots, but they just want to have all the options in the world. They want to have reaction shots. They want to be able to drag it out longer if they want to, just based on how they want to put it together.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I'm following. That's what I figured. So, and we were DMing about this. We must have missed this. Must have been a conversation off camera that they had in the fantasy suite. So did she say there was some sort of, so like we said, she grabbed Ivan, they're talking one-on-one away from the other two guys. Was it some sort of religious or some sort of beliefs that just weren't aligned and it wasn't going to work out? Is that what she said?
To be honest, like, obviously I enjoy doing these podcasts with you and talking with you, but a lot of times when I'm watching this, it's kind of going in one ear and out the other, just because it's a lot of it just like fluff and I just don't really care.
Right.
A couple of times I press that, skip forward 10 seconds because I'm just like, oh fuck, it's like pulling
on with it.
It's like nails on a chalkboard. It's just so hard to watch, and so I had to skip through it a little bit, or quite a few times. And so I can't remember much about the religion part as well.
Yeah, it was something that caught me off guard, because I'm usually doing my best and I'm taking notes, so I really don't miss much, especially not something like that. So there had to have been something. There wasn't very much context here. There was obviously something that came up off camera, because I don't remember much conflict at all between Ivan and Tayshia, between the family meeting, between any of their dates there here at the end, and then not for the fantasy suites. From what we saw as an audience, everything looked great. So this was kind of a big surprise to me. This was obviously a conversation that happened when they were able to have some private moments off camera.
Yeah.
Okay. So right then and there, she sends Ivan home. So now that was a big twist for me, because I was like, Ivan's my guy. I thought Ivan was going to win.
He also seemed like, out of the three guys, he actually seems like a really nice guy. Not like the other guys aren't, but he actually seemed like a nice guy. But he also actually seemed like he was there for the right reasons, maybe more so than the other guys. Again, he just actually really, really cared for her. He seemed like he really cared for her. I don't know if it was actually just, if he's faking it or whatever, but I almost felt bad for the guy, just because, but it was one of those things that's like nice guys finish last, because he did seem like one of the nicest, maybe just one of the softest out of the bunch. But yeah, anyways, so, he goes home.
Yeah. And then, so Ivan's gone, and now, Rose won at this point. No surprise, I think, to either of us. It goes to Zach. And Rose 2 goes to Ben, and Ben's all of a sudden back in the mix. So, these guys go from, oh my God, am I going home because Ben's showing up and now there's more guys than roses? And then Ivan's gone, and now they both have roses, and they're on their way to meet Tayshia's family. I feel like that was a whole big twist. It wasn't like super dramatic, but it definitely ended up in a bit different of a place than I imagined it going.
Yeah. No, it was. It is what it is.
Absolutely. So now we meet Tayshia and the family, and I just love their reactions and the families. They're trying to like piece together, especially maybe if they weren't fans of the show or hadn't seen the show, or they probably know a little bit, because obviously Tayshia was on the show before, not as the Bachelorette, but as a contestant on The Bachelor. So I'm sure they get a little bit of it. And I just love when she was like, so there's this guy, Ben, and Ben came back, and they're like, wow.
I know.
Like, did you notice that?
They're kind of trying to like, so you're getting engaged, you're going to get engaged again?
Well, you sent this guy home, now he's back and he might win? Like, what's going on?
They kind of like, they didn't realize this is reality TV, and that, she's there to get engaged, and
right.
A lot's going on. So it's just hard for a lot of people to wrap their heads around it.
Yeah, for sure. But that was just cracking me up, because they're like, Wow. Ooh, like as if they were like at a museum or something. Like this Ben guy is some 1,000-year-old sculpture they can't touch, and they're just like marveling at it because some guy who wanted to make $100 this summer is giving a tour and saying all these cool things. I was like, well, what's going on? Let's see. So Ben is there. He's meeting with the family now. Again, I know you weren't on the show long enough for but how long do you think that Ben is actually spending time with Tasha's family? Is this like an afternoon, a few hours? How long is Ben really getting to talk?
My guess is a couple hours. My guess is maybe max a couple hours.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, I don't know for sure, but if I had to guess, a couple hours. You know, they got, you know, it's just only so much you could talk about, and well, I mean, there's obviously a lot to talk about, but only so much they want to use, and they got other stuff to film throughout the day. Yeah, like the one-on-one time, it might only be five or 10 minutes. Who knows?
Right. And I feel like it's hard to get super deep because all of a sudden you would think, you know, maybe it's a little bit different. Maybe you're in a, you know, let's say, you know, Tasha lives far from parents and she starts, you know, dating someone that's cross country or wherever she lives. But usually these conversations, you know, even if you're dating for a while, you know, eventually, you know, you'll peek in and go visit at the holidays. So usually these conversations are a gradual thing as the relationship kind of progresses, right? Like if you're someone that wants your family involved in meeting, you know, your boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever the situation is, these people just have to jump and skip all of that. And now they're on TV and they all of a sudden have to go to the final conversations. They're skipping the journey and the race and everything else. And it's super accelerated. I feel like to get all that in a few hours or, you know, 5 to 10 minutes when you're one-on-one, that has to be like impossible. That's so weird to, hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you. I'm going to marry your daughter.
Well, it's not only that, but the fact that when I'm watching this, I'm seeing how they're talking, I'm seeing if they're getting nervous, because this is the first time that these people have probably been on TV, you know, let alone reality TV. So I'm watching this and I'm thinking, I wonder how nervous they are. I wonder, you know, are they stumbling in their words? What are they talking about?
Right.
Because again, your first time on TV and your daughter is getting married, it can be awkward as well, right? But
100%.
I think for me, I wouldn't care if my parents. I think it'd be fun if my parents were there. But I mean, my first show, then yeah, hell, I would have been hella nervous.
For sure. So mom and dad seem to approve with Ben. That goes well, but it's time for Zach now. And we DM about this, and you were even like, you know, usually, you know, you see through, and you know, you're kind of the, you know, you definitely play devil's advocate. You don't let me get too excited because you're like, okay, relax. Like, how real is this, right? And you do a good job. That's why we have a good dynamic when we're watching this show. But I think you would agree. I think Zach, especially with Dad, really, really killed it with their one-on-one. Dad definitely seemed to approve of Zach.
Zach's quite confident. You could tell with you could just tell he's quite confident, and he did quite well with parents. Obviously, just from what we saw, maybe he did even better. I mean, yeah, I was quite impressed. I'll be honest.
Absolutely. And I think he made another great point too. Obviously, we don't know all the specifics, but he had some pretty crazy years. He was, you know, probably, I don't know if he mentioned it for sure, but, you know, he partied a lot and, you know, was addicted to drugs and obviously had some real demons in his past. And, you know, when he was talking to Tasha later on, talking about, you know, she gave his parents the greatest gift ever because he smiled. And the way that he lit up was something that his parents hadn't seen pretty much in forever. So once he killed it with Dad, and once that got brought up again, and you know, I'm putting all these things together at this point, I don't know about you. Well, I know you kind of stumbled across the answer before you got to it on social media, but at this point, I was feeling really good about Zach taking home the final rose.
I was leaning towards a little bit Zach afterwards as well, because I feel like, yeah, maybe the parents liked Zach a little bit more, because I think the parents were a little bit skeptical of the fact that, you know, Ben got sent home to the different to the resort. And then he came back, you know, kind of a little bit of a red flag. So yeah,
and you know, the rest of this episode is pretty straightforward. Tasha and Dad have one last, you know, serious one-on-one talk. Obviously, a dad's going to be protective, especially of a daughter who is, was divorced, who, from what it seems from the outside looking in, being married young and being divorced pretty quick, probably rushed in, to a marriage there. So obviously dad's.
I'll be the same. I'd be like, look, you've been married once, and how many years ago? It's not like it was 10 or 15 years ago. And are you ready to do it? Are you doing it just for TV sake? If so, then
Right.
At least I understand that, or you could tell me. But I just wouldn't want to see my daughter getting hurt again, because as we know, or at least I know, like a lot of people are doing this for fame and money. So is Zach's intentions true? Or is he actually in love? But that being said, he actually does seem like he likes her. But often, as a lot of people are aware of this, you get caught up in it. You get caught up in the fact that you have no work, you have no friends or family, no friends around, and it's solely the relationship that you have to focus on. And you're like, I got to win, in a sense. I want to make it.
Right.
You have the producers talking in your ear and whatnot. So there's a lot of, it's all relationship. So again, it's so easy to get caught up in it. And then once you go back to the real world, and then you have 1,000 other girls at your disposal, well, on social media or whatever, you're like, yeah, actually, I don't like her as much as I thought. I kind of like this other girl more. I don't love her as much as I thought I did.
Right.
It can happen, right?
Absolutely. You can't build the perfect scenario, especially not in so little amount of time. So the rest of this episode goes the Tayshia and dad one-on-one talk. He obviously lays it down on her, wants to make sure she's really, really sure, just kind of figure out how she's feeling, expressing how he feels. And then we see Zach and Tayshia. They do, this dance class. They have some one-on-one time, and they have their deep talk. And I feel where, at least in this moment, as far as you can get with the given situation and scenario, what I feel really good about Zach, going back to his addiction and the things that he had to work through, and the dedication and loyalty, not only to himself, but to his family. And, he talked about the anniversary. I think it was 9 years sober for him on that day. I just imagine he values, and, he talked about this. I just imagine he really values, the loyalty and the integrity of himself, not to relapse and go back to those own ways. It's almost as if in a relationship, right? If he were to go back, if he was a previous addict and he were to do that again, that'd be like being, cheating or being unfaithful to this relationship he has with his sobriety. It's the thing that he talked about that he's most proud of, that he works on every single day. And not only does it affect him, but gosh, if he fell back into that and something were to happen, and obviously it was a dark time, that would throw off everything with his family, his friends. That affects all of your relationships, I imagine. I've never been an addict, maybe an addict to hosting an awesome Bachelorette podcast, but that's about it. But getting to this point so far, so few amount of time, we know this is kind of a fairy tale make-believe world, but still going forward, me being optimistic, all these things that he has to work on every single day, if he can translate this into his relationship with Tayshia, I think Zach and Tayshia could have a really great relationship, and I'm rooting for him.
Oh, you sound like a relationship counselor.
I don't know anything about relationships, but I have tons of confidence, which is what you need as a relationship counselor. So there we go.
And definitely, no, they definitely seemed happy. A lot of emotions, and
right.
You can't not be happy for them. And hopefully it works out, but time will tell.
Absolutely. And we obviously know that.
I mean, I again haven't watched many of these shows, only my season basically, and a couple hour episodes here and there. But if I was guessing that all these relationships, when they get to the end and they get proposed, I'm sure they're all crying and happy and love for each other. And then 6 months later, a year later, they're no more.
Right. That's the unfortunate reality of these things.
To be the burden of bad news, or whatever you want to call it. I'm a super realistic type of guy,
Well, that's the reality. I mean, Daniel, there are people that date that are not on reality shows, and they think that it's awesome. It's the best relationship ever. And those relationships sometimes last even less time. Like, this happens everywhere. So, I mean, obviously, nothing is a perfect scenario. There are people that meet in the real world, and those relationships don't work out either.
So the only thing is one of the biggest things I have to say about dating on reality TV is that it does have its perks, because like, for example, these two together, they've been on the show, so they have this huge experience together, right? And they know, and then they also obviously have social media, so they have this certain type of lifestyle and certain type of characteristics. They both are obviously friendly. They're both outgoing. They're both obviously confident. You have to have all these characteristics to be on reality TV. So you're gonna have stuff in common. So it's like when I talk to people about the type of girl I would be dating, is like, obviously the joke always goes, you want a girl that has no followers, because she's less likely to be into herself or get hit on by people and yada yada yada. But anyways, that being said, if you also date a girl that does have social media, like let's say 100,000 followers, she would kind of understand my lifestyle as well.
Right.
Because I have Instagram, right? So she understands, photography, and she understands that you're in the public eye at times. And so you do have common traits. So, with being on reality TV and finding someone, it can also be a positive, not just a negative, that is not realistic, right? Absolutely. I just wish some of these shows could be more realistic. For example, let's say hypothetically, like, I think the Bachelorette or Bachelor usually films in 9 weeks, I think.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that, but I don't think this current season, but let's say 2 months. Okay, but let's say hypothetically we did another show where we filmed over 3 months. So you had another month, and then let's say I was a bachelor, and they said, "Hey, Daniel, okay, you're gonna be the bachelor, and we're gonna give you 1,000 girls to swipe through, like Tinder and Bumble, just to quickly, sort through a bunch."
Yeah.
You go from 1,000 down to, like, say 100. And then they said, "Hey, Daniel, over 2 days, you're going to do a 5-minute speed date with these 100 girls."
Yeah.
And then you narrow 100 girls down to 30 girls.
I'm writing this down.
And then you film the show with these 30 girls. And that would make it way more realistic that you're going to find someone to be with, and it'll be more real, because not only because you get to pick these people, because what happens is Tayshia, she shows up with 30 random dudes that she probably has no idea who they are, and they might not be her cup of tea, right?
Yeah. So essentially, you're kind of taking a role of almost like a casting director. If we're using TV words here.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. So I just say, I just wish they casted for more of a real show, but again, that's not doesn't necessarily it might make it better reality TV.
Yeah.
Because they would have a bunch of different oddballs. If everyone was the same, it might not make for good TV. And then the other thing is doing it over 3 months as opposed to 2 months. 3 months costs more money, right?
Right. True.
So,
true. Well,
I'm just in an ideal world, if I was a bachelor, it'd be nice to be able to choose from a whole bunch of potential candidates instead of just giving 30 women, right? Because you might get these 30 women. Like, for example, if you go on Tinder or Bumble, how many times do you swipe right before how many times do you swipe left before you swipe right?
Yeah.
You might go through 50 or 100 people before you swipe right. I don't know what city you're in, what kind of selection of women you have to deal, or whatever man, if you're for a girl. But it'd be awesome. I mean, what guy or girl wouldn't want to choose from, all these people that want you?
Yeah.
Hopefully if they want you, but.
Yeah. I think we're going to cut out this last part of the podcast, and we're just going to keep this idea to ourselves, because I think you got an awesome idea. I like this. You could have the levels of it. You could start out with the Tinder, Bumble type swiping, and then it could progress to little Zoom dates, like you're able to meet kind of face to face, and then there's different levels, and you work your way up to meeting in person. I kind of like it. It's different than most of these shows where you have a bunch of strangers casted by other strangers, and they just all kind of show up and you got to figure it out. Not that doesn't work or isn't entertaining, because obviously there's a market for it. They have 100 shows now. I mean, Netflix has 10 of their own shows that are similar to this, but this one is not like one that I've heard or seen before. I really like this.
Well, I just mean it would make it more real,
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like I said, if you were all of a sudden, if Joe was like, "Hey, here's 30 girls," and I look at 30 girls, I'm like, I don't want any of these girls.
Yeah.
If he said to me, "Okay, here's 1,000 girls," and look through them, and okay, 1,000, we narrow it down to 50. Okay, good. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And then you go on speed dates with 50 to 100 of these girls. And then out of those 150, we'll narrow down to 25,
I like it. I like it. Well, there it is, folks. Bachelorette Roundup, Joe Vore, Daniel Maguire. This was the season finale. So we got a few days here. We're going to go through Christmas. We're going to go through New Year's. Then all of a sudden, we had a whole new man in our lives, and we have about 30 new women in our lives.
Who's your new man? You got a new man?
Yeah, we're going to have a new man hosting the Bachelor.
I thought you had a new man in your life.
No new man in my life. I mean, I guess the Bachelor will be the new man of my content podcast life. But that's
what's wrong with men? What's wrong with men? You don't like men?
There's nothing wrong with men. I just I have plenty of male friends, exclusively friends.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
I know you're starting to mess with me. You attacked the way that I look. I don't have my tie on. I don't seem cool anymore. You're just coming at me all these different ways, Daniel. You're killing me today.
All right, man. It was good talking to you again.
Hey, you as well, man. Have a great holiday season. Thanks for doing this Bachelorette style, and I can't wait to crank it back up for the Bachelor. Yeah,
and enjoy your $600 check there.
I will, man. Thank you.
Spend it all in one spot.
I'm going to use it for some new podcast equipment, and then when I have left over, I'm going to get some ice cream or something.
All right, great.
All right, cool. Thanks, Daniel.